Let's jump to the story from Axios. Scoop. State Department to use AI to revoke visas of foreign students who appear pro-Hamas. Okay. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is launching an AI-fueled catch and revoke effort to cancel the visas of foreign nationals who appear to support Hamas or other designated terror groups, senior State Department officials tell Axios. The effort marks a dramatic escalation in the U.S. government's policing of foreign nationals' conduct and speech. Don't care. Thank you and have a nice day. What do you guys think?
I mean, so I think that I would like to think that this can be done properly. I don't know that AI is sophisticated enough. And also, look, I do think that if you are a foreign student and you're here on a visa, I mean, protesting probably shouldn't be high on your list of activities. And I think that you should probably refrain from protesting. Granted, we do have the freedom of speech that's protected here, but if you're here on a visa, maybe you should focus on your schoolwork and not focus on protesting.
I would agree. You know, like if you're here on a visa, you're trying to make yourself better and ideally make the country better, you know, because the brain dump is a big thing. You're taking smart people from other countries. And if you're going out to, what was it, a library the other day where all those protesters took over and they did the fake bomb threats? Everywhere, really. Like, that's not what you want in the country, in my opinion.
For me, I would feel like it needs to be based in the fact that Hamas is a terrorist group. Like, it can't be based in protest. It can't be based around people who are, focused on people who are protesting. It has to be people who are taking action to benefit Hamas, whether even through because I don't know. If you make it in protest now you're dancing around the First Amendment.
Maybe, but I kind of don't like the idea that we give people temporary stay in this country and then they just start becoming disruptive. American citizens petitioning. So what is protest, and what is the spirit of the First Amendment? The idea was not. The founding fathers did not intend for 17,000 people to march to the street waving signs, blocking roads, and shutting down businesses. Peaceably assemble. What was going on back then was they were concerned that the Crown would come and arrest them for meeting in bars and having planning meetings about the structure of their own government, or going to Continental Congress, sessions, shutting them down. So their view of peaceably assembling speech was not rooted in marching through the streets. But we've largely interpreted it to be like, okay, Americans can assemble in many different ways. Foreign individuals who are here on specific visas pertaining to specific things, choosing instead to block our roads and obstruct our economy, I think I say no to it. I say no. And the reason is, are we going to allow bad actors to come here and then cause economic damage to our country and communities if that and that may have been their entire intent? Like, I don't understand, for what purpose are we allowing non-citizens who cannot vote try to petition our government?
Well, so I look at it more in like a practical sense, right? So how would you define as doing something pro-Hamas?
Oh, I don't care if it's Hamas.
Or so you're talking about just protests if they're caught protesting.
I mean, let's put it this way: if let's clarify. Protesting I don't care about to a certain degree. If a person here on a visa, non-citizen, is at a university or in any way obstructs our official proceedings of government or proceedings of university, I say we retain the right to revoke their visas, because these are not voting individuals. They should not be making attempts to influence our governance.
Okay. So, I mean, but that would at least give the basis of in violating rules or crimes. Because if they're actually stopping people, okay, that I'm 100%
If they're standing on a sidewalk holding up a sign, I kind of say, I don't like that a foreign individual is trying to influence our government, but you could do that from anywhere. Mm-hmm. If an American protests, we can argue that the protest is, there's limitations on if you're obstructing a roadway, we're going to clear you out of the roadway, and then you can get a permit. So I guess I'd put it this way: I don't think non-citizens. I think this is actually pretty clear. I think I'm not even arguing anything. Even Americans aren't allowed to obstruct roadways or official proceedings.
Exactly.
Right. So these protests that they're always doing are unlawful assemblies in that they are not for 1A protected instances. Mm-hmm. So the foreign students at these universities who are obstructing are breaking the law, and they are not protected by 1A okay, revoke their visas. Bye.
See, that I don't argue against. If you're here on a visa, you get caught violating our law, you're gone. Like, I'm all for that. My worry is that this is worded very vaguely the way they're talked about. I'm sure there'll be more specificity later, but it's vaguely worded in the sense that if you are taking activities that are pro-Hamas, for you would be sign on the side of the road, not obstructing traffic, not violating rules, like that, making that deportable. I worry
Why
that's
do
a
we
slippery
have to
slope
let?
for it.
But like, why should any non-citizen be granted the rights to advocate against us, even in our own country?
Because that's the beauty of the First Amendment, is that you have to allow people their voice. Like, you have to.
American
American
citizens.
If you're here on a visa, you are here because we are allowing it. You don't have a right to be here. Okay. You know, you're probably on a visa that's attached to the fact that you're a student. Focus on your schoolwork. If you want to protest or go to a protest, I think that probably should be okay. But if you're engaging in the protest, if you're out there throwing things or making a scene,
I agree with that.
I agree with
I agree with that.
It's kind of like, imagine you got a roommate and you walk in and he's washing his feet in the kitchen sink. And you go, bro, are you legit washing your feet in the kitchen sink? And he goes, hey, man, I pay rent. I pay utilities. I want to use the sink this way. And you go, okay, we need to come to an agreement on what we're allowed to use the sink for. So you draft up these rules and say, okay, fine. I'm going to say you're allowed to wash your feet in that sink there, but don't use my sink. We agree. Then you invite a guy over. He walks over and starts washing his feet in the sink. Be like, no, dude, you're a homie who's hanging out. You don't get to do that. That guy's paying rent, and I had to make it a compromise with him. You stop doing that now. Leave.
No, I can understand. Like I said,
To be fair,
I don't think we disagree. I think we agree that if you're doing something that you shouldn't be doing, that you're not allowed to do.
No, I'm talking
where the
about-
First Amendment wouldn't protect you anyway.
So first, 1A does protect non-citizens. The Bill of Rights, the Constitution applies to tourists, 100%. There is a question over guns, which is interesting. How would a non-citizen buy a gun in this country, despite the fact I believe the Supreme Court already ruled the Constitution applies to non-citizens and they have the same rights. And the reason we do that is because, and here is the real challenge. The reason why we give non-citizens constitutional rights is because to take or to deny them those rights would mean that the police could stop you and say, what you are doing is we're going to stop you and search you and say, hey, man, I'm just standing here minding my own business. I'm an American citizen. I have a right to protest. And they go, we don't think you're a citizen. Now we're going to stop you, and then we'll figure out if you're a citizen later. Because the restrictions on the government has to say, we can't actually stop to check if you're a citizen or not. And that's one of the challenges with illegal immigration. So navigating this thing is difficult because, I'll just put it this way. You got people who are coming here for ill intent. Mm-hmm. They seek to cause us harm, to obstruct, cause damage, and they will do it and create friction and economic friction in any way they can. I don't like the idea that we have to let people come into our country. And the issue of Hamas it's secondary. I'm not talking about that. Anybody who comes to this country on a visa as a guest, given benefits by our country for, let's say it's a 3-month visa or a 2-year visa, who then decides, I want to use this opportunity to influence your country. I say, you are not a citizen. You have no right to influence our government in protest. I reject that. I can certainly understand the argument of how does the government differentiate between citizens and not, but I do think there is a problem in saying non-citizens can influence our government in some way with our protection. I don't like that.
Yeah. If you're here as a guest, which is what a visa is, then, and you're going to protest, you're going, and I think that it should be, basically engaging in any level of protest beyond just being at the protest. You want to put your body there and stand there and stuff, whatever, that's fine. If you're yelling at people, if you're causing a nuisance in any way, that beat it, just there's no reason to say, oh, we must allow you to be here. You have no right to be here. You are here because we are generous. If you're going to go and protest and cause a disturbance, hollering through a megaphone. You can be at a place where there are people hollering through a megaphone, but if it turns into something where the police come and they just start scooping people up and you're among them, bye. Yeah. That's it. You know, if it starts getting rowdy, you should get out of there before the police arrive. Because if the police decide we're going to scoop people up, and I'm not saying that police should, I'm not taking a stance on that, but if they do and they find out that you're here on a visa, see ya. Just go home. You can have your opinions. You can type them on the internet. But if you're going to a protest and you're going to make a stink and make noise and the police end up picking you up, beat it.
No, I understand. Like I said, for me, it's a dance. For me, it really is, just because as somebody who's pro-Israel and was dealing with a lot of the pro-Hamas protests and all stuff like that, and I recognize it would have been so much easier just to get rid of those people from those crowds and allow the people that wanted to peaceably carry on with their lives to go. And then it butts up because I always look at free speech as an absolute, you know, and I recognize that we've made rules around it and we make concessions on that. And this would be another concession on that, is from my perspective. And it's anytime there is a concession when it comes to the First Amendment, I'm always would err on the side of the first than I would on the side of the government making a new rule.
Thanks for checking out this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to watch the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. Subscribe to this channel, and we will see you all there.